What's up, guys? Koma here, and today we are covering a new Titan build that I've been messing around with. And this is support build. Support build might be a weird wording on Titan, considering most would kind of assume that would be Banner of War on Trend Titan, but no, we're actually going to be running Precious Scars on Arc Titan. Where it says final blows from weapons with a damage type matching your super creates a burst of healing around you that grants you and allies a restoration. And after reviving or being revived, you gain an aura that provides overshields to you and nearby allies. So initially, right off the bat, you're going to be giving health via restoration and overshields to your allies. While this might not be as crazy as this choice here, let's go over to the subclass, because yes, we are running the brand new Storm's Keep versus caster class ability to grant a moderate amount of bolt charge stacks to you and nearby allies. While behind your barricade, you and allies gain stacks of bolt charge over time. Your weapons can discharge max stacks of bolt charge. So essentially what this aspect allows you to do is that if you're, as long as you're behind your barricade, you can shoot an enemy and use your bolt charge stacks. This will be something more important here in a moment. But we're also running Knockout, but you can always run Touch or Thunder. I just run Knockout for the sake of being able to be to get myself amplified, and the health regen from Knockout in case I don't have a weapon to proc Precious Stars right off instantly. Choose whatever specific grenade you want. We have Flashbang here for unstopped champs. If you are running, Spark of Shock. If you're running Spark of Shock, then you get Jolt, which you can overload, stun overload champs with whatever nade you like. Here I'm running Ballistic or Seismic Strike. You can run whatever you want. I'm not a fan of Thunderclap, but Ballistic Slam also gets you bolt charged based on the number of targets hit. So keep that in mind. You can also run that. With Barricades, you can run any class ability here. You can even run Thruster, which with Storm's Keep equipped, Thruster actually gives you 6 stacks of bolt charge and amplifies you. So it's an option that if you're playing solo and you don't think you really need Rally Barricade, you can run Thruster and just spam it and get stacks of bolt charge. We're specifically running Rally Barricade here because, number one, it's the lowest cooldown outside of Thruster. So we're looking at a 38-second cooldown base, meaning that it gets even lower depending on what you're doing within the game and how many ionic traces you're going to be picking up. But essentially, you create the barricade, and it'll increase your weapon reload speed, stability, and range, and draws hostile fire when you stand behind it, which isn't that big of a deal, as you will typically be amplified as well, meaning that you're going to be taking a decent amount of reduced damage. Of course, we're running Thunder Crash, but if you want, you can run Fist of Havoc. There's no issue there. Do as you please. But Thunder Crash is the biggest bang for your buck here. We're going to be running Spark of Resistance, so while you're behind the rally barricade and being shot at, while you're drawing hostile fire, you'll be more resistant to incoming damage. Spark of Amplitude, so this leans more into the support side of things, where as long as you're amplified and rapidly defeating targets, you can create more orbs of power. Therefore, you can generate more orbs for you and your allies. Spark of Magnitude, my lingering grenades are going to be lasting longer. If you are running Flashbang Grenade, this can be swapped out. And then Spark of Ions, defeating a jolted target or defeating a target with bolt charge creates an ionic trace. So essentially, going on to Amplitude, my bad. Rapidly defeating targets while Amplify gets you an orb. That means that you can also run something like Harmonic Siphon. That also gives you an orb. So you can create 2 orbs as long as you're amplified from 2 enemies. Additionally, if you are running something like... Okay, so if you are running, Amplitude, like I was specifying before the edit, you could technically run something like Pyroelectric Propellant or the Noxious Vevator, as I also mentioned in my Warlock video, that you can also run Attrition Orbs to generate an additional orb. So essentially, you can easily make 3 orbs in the matter of just 1 or 2 enemies. Primarily because of Amplitude alone. So that's something that you could do. So you can generate a ton of orbs for your teammates and allow them to get their supers back. But most of you might be looking at Divinity and wondering, Coma, why are you running Divinity? Now, there's 2 major reasons here. Number 1, it's Arc. And number 2, I have been finding a need to run Div for my team in the new Sundered Dungeon. And I decided that I was going to cook up a Storm's Keep Divinity build with to specifically be able to utilize Bolt Charge. A majority of my teammates actually run either Hunters or Warlocks. I believe there's only 1 or 2 of my friends that actually run Titan, specifically my friend Logan. But if I pick up Titan and I have Titan and I need to run Div, I can just throw on Storm's Keep to give us additional damage, because while we are behind the barricade, we're gaining Bolt Charge, and that's more damage. Bolt Charge is extremely good because if you're not running Div and you're running solo content, you can instead run something like Pyroelectric Repellent and throw on something like Nox Prevential or Scatter Signal if you have it, or Lost Signal. And then you can also throw on Thunderlord, which Thunderlord got a small rework, being against Overload champions, but the lightning strikes that come from Thunderlord grant a stack of Bolt Charge on top of the lightning strikes also reloading the magazine from reserves thanks to the catalyst. So basically, you're going to be doubling up on the bolt charges with Thunderlord. So this would be more or less what you want your setup to look like, as if you're playing, something solo, as you're playing, something that you can handle alone, or you're not going to be aiding your teammates at all. But you can run something like this when it comes down to aiding your teammates. So if you're using a kinetic or, any primary weapon that goes in your kinetic slot, you can just swap out your siphons. Yes, you won't be using Pressure Scars much, but you want something like Song of Iriut, perhaps, in this slot. Therefore, you could, not only have a decent, Thunderlord alternative, but you can also run something like the good old or brand new Watchful Eye, which is probably easy to get your hands on compared to a Song of Iriut, having something like Jolting Feedback Field Prep, or even something like Eddy Current Jolting Feedback, whatever you personally feel like. And you can actually deal damage from behind your barricade. So I think that's generally it. Let's go over the Tablet of Ruin here, as yes, there are going to be a few things that you're going to want here. Overload machine guns straight up is bugged, so I don't have it selected right now. But since you're running Overload, or since you're running majority something that can jolt, or with Div and in Thunderlord's case, just have intrinsic overload as a whole, you're not going to need it here. But we are running like Overclock Load, De-Electric, Photonic Flare, and Flash Over. If you are running something like Scatter Signal or Nox, as I showed off here a moment ago, so here's Nox. I have Controlled Burst, Envious Assassin with Enhanced Battery. I don't have it enhanced or anything, but stuff like Unraveling Orbs and Horde Shuttle are definitely going to help here, as most of these are focused into your Arc subclass, and then Horde Shuttle and Unraveling Orbs are going to be focused more into your Strand Weapon. I also don't have Defibrillate, but again, there's also that too, so do keep that in mind. You can also throw this on if you have that. Going over to mods, these mods will change differently depending on what element you're running. So again, by default, you're going to be running this on Arc as long as you have an Arc weapon equipped. So make sure that you at least have a Harmonic Siphon on. But if you're running something like, say, I'm running Fatebringer here with my weapons. So I actually do have Osmosis on this, so I can technically theoretically change it to Arc, so I can keep my Arc Siphon on and just throw my nade and change the element. But you can throw something like Stasis Siphon or Strand Siphon on, but still having the heavy ammo Finder and Scout on to pretty much be able to generate ammo for your teammates. Firepower and bolstering detonation. Bolstering detonation is going to help us regen our class ability slightly faster, not by a crazy means. 2 damage resistance of personal choice and harmonic reserves. Remember, you're going to be running div if you're going to be running with allies, so make sure that you have a harmonic reserve on to kind of give yourself a bit more of an edge and just to have more ammo. Onto boots, I'm just running single arc weapon surge. I don't think there's much you need to do. You could totally theoretically run 2, but I'm using insulation to be able to cast my barricade as many times as possible. So do as you wish there. And we're running distribution with utility kickstart. Theoretically, you probably don't need utility kickstart. You could probably do distribution as a whole. But again, totally your choice. Whatever you feel like you want to do. You can even throw on Reaper. But yeah, personal choice. Do whatever you wish. So, before I close out this video, I do want to say that the footage that you'll probably be seeing gameplay of is probably rough. Primarily because the more recent rotations of the lost sectors or the legend lost sectors are essentially some of the worst rotations that are in rotation for a few days, because currently they are the Pale Heart lost sectors, and the last one in rotation was the one in the Impasse, which wasn't fun. The Broken Deep is just not fun because it's essentially 3 big rooms. So do keep in mind that in the boss room of that lost sector, you're still going to see me die quite a bit. But I think in the first few rooms, it gives you a good example of how you can approach situations with this build and how absolutely broken Bolt Charge can be. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the build. If you guys have any more questions, please let me know in the comments, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Adios.